of them maybe. Yes, so as I was saying, the way I structure it normally in class when it comes to gamifying lessons and engagement in a virtual platform when teaching is I start with, one-on-one check-ins with each student, and then I'll put something on a whiteboard that I want all of us to do together, but they have to physically write it down where they are. And then I'll have them hold up what they're doing, like progress checks throughout to show me where they are and what they've written and what they know. And then I check for understanding after that. And when I'm satisfied and I say, okay, you've passed note check or you've passed this progress check, or maybe we need to revisit this again, or maybe I'll have another student be the teacher for a little while. Maybe you'll understand it better from a peer. I do all of that in the beginning of class, the first 20, 30, 35 minutes of class. And then they know that if they satisfy my requirements in that portion of class, then they will get to the gamified part of class. But we can't do gamification without the understanding. Otherwise, you're going to be bad at the game. So I want to have that, as the foundation. It's not all games. Some days we don't play games at all. Most of the time, it's a Friday, fun Friday type of situation. But it's not all games. So I wouldn't say to rely on gamification. And I just want that to be a disclaimer. But I'm going to jump right in here and I'm going to start with a platform called Genially. Have any of you ever heard of Genially? I'll put that in the chat, the name of it. You can Google it, but I'm also going to share it here on the screen. And Genially is a really cool site. And I also like it because they have a lot of templates that are already made. Templates for learning games, templates for quizzes, etc. It's all already here. So this is the site, genially.com. And you can, come here. It's free. The accounts are free. Even to create learning games here, it's free also. Now, of course, they have things you can pay and add on and all of that, but there's so many platforms and resources. As an educator, you'll look up and say, why am I paying $500 a month on 12 different sites? So I look for the sites that have robust content that they offer for free. And I'll show you one of the games that I made here called Ya Asantua's Warrior Quest. I
And
made it
Mama Swat, we can
for
see okay, it went away. It was asking you if you wanted to accept cookies.
oh, Um, it's called Ya Santu's Word Quest. I made it for the African history class. So, in addition to reading literature about Ya Santua and watching videos or documentaries about her, a virtual board game was also another good way to drive home a lot of the concepts about Ya Santua, and it was really engaging for the students. They were able to play together in breakout rooms. They got really excited about it and about the content and the lessons, and you're able to completely customize this. This is a template. I just went in and put in, some photos. It's very comprehensive. It's easy to find tutorials on YouTube and within the platform itself. You can click to roll the dice here to let you know how many spaces you should go and then move your character that many spaces. If you land on one of these, then it'll pop up and tell you what to do or ask a trivia question. I put these questions in also, and it worked. The children had a really good time playing this game. and it might have taken me 15 minutes to create, but they're able to play it repeatedly. And with the link, they can play with family members at home or outside of class. And yeah, this is Geniality. And so if you go down, you'll see that there are more templates. You can explore more templates that you can play together. You can choose the grade level. There's virtual escape games, quizzes, etc. So Geniality is a really good resource that I would recommend. The next resource, or any questions about Geniality? I don't work for them, but I'm sure I can answer some base level questions. Okay.
Um,
The board game looks
Mama
amazing, by the way.
Swatara,
Thank you. Yes.
excuse me, Mama Swatara. Like, how do you
Yes.
how are you accommodating for like a full class of children? Like, I mean, obviously, the game, the way that it's set up there is maybe like four kids, four learners, or something like that. And so then, are you having them? Are you separating them into groups and having them play um in breakout rooms? Like, I'm not understanding how this scales up from just from just a few kids. That's real. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So
Hope I'm
yes, that's
making.
exactly what I did. I used breakout rooms, and there were four students to a breakout room, and I was able to rotate around from room to room to check on each group periodically until bringing us all back together. That's exactly what I did. Breakout rooms for this specific game. Now, there are other games where they will accommodate everybody being in the same virtual space at one time, and I'll show you those too.
Sorry, can I just ask you, ma'am, what tools do you use for the breakout room? What are you on Zoom or?
On Zoom, yes, on Zoom, the breakout rooms. But also, if I didn't have the breakout room feature and I wanted to play this game and I knew that only four people could play, then I would just turn that into four teams. And I would have, four teams of however many students are in my class at that time, and let them all give their team a name, let them choose a number from whatever to whatever. And even that part is fun for them. Oh, our name is this. Oh, I want to guess the number. Oh my God, I can't believe we guessed it. Oh, I'm the team captain. Like all of that is engagement. So make every component fun. And I'll just rotate the student that rolls the dice or answers the question based on, which team's turn it is. I also do that in Jeopardy labs because Jeopardy, that's not really a 20-person game, but I put them on teams. Sometimes we've put classes against classes, like Mtoto and Yota versus Mtoto Moto or Mtoto Maji, and it is battle of the classes as teams, and you just rotate the questions per student. Like, okay, team one is this person, that person, that person. This person go first, and then when you go back to that team, you just rotate to the next person. Now that's for you to keep up with, though.
Sorry, this may be an obvious question, but
No
how,
problem.
because the purpose of me joining is because I want to launch myself online. Um, Never done that before, so it's really alien to me in terms of the tools. So I'm still trying to work out what tools to use. In terms of Zoom, there's Google Meet, there's all these different tools that we can use to teach. So
Mhm.
would a student need to have an online account as too in order to play the game? How does that
No.
work? Like if we were like we're on here now and
So
you've got
this
the game, how would that work?
most Genie games, you don't need an account to play. I could just send you guys this link right now,
Okay.
and you can play. So even PDFs, like you can embed these links into an interactive PDF and just send your students the PDF, and they can click on that link from the PDF and be directed to the game or whatever resource you want to share.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Canva. Most people are, but that's something that you can do very easily in Canva. And there's the link to this game here in the chat. Mama Akila?
What age group do you suggest for these type of games?
I think it depends on the child, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because it can be hard to say. You know, I don't want to cut an age group off and then they're the type of child that qualifies for something like this. And then I don't want to include an age group and they need their mama and daddy sitting right there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it varies. But as far as gamified lessons or like something like this, Mama Kila would be perfect for your class and you all could play together.
Okay.
Like you could
For
just share it
one
with your
screen, Mama
screen.
Akila, like you roll
Yeah,
the dice for all of them,
exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
And then you just play it together as a class collaboratively rather than individually.
Okay.
Because you can't trust them to go into a breakout room and do what they need to do.
So just now I've just clicked on the link and
Uh-huh.
I rolled the dice. Did anyone see me roll the dice at all?
No,
I
your
was just
screen is
trialing
not.
it. I was just wondering if how it works, like, because I understand the theory behind it, but just the practicality of it. I'm just gonna move this. I don't know if this works or not. Can anyone see me roll the dice now?
No, your screen is not sharing. But if you see the
Oh, I
roll, then
see.
I'm sure the dice is rolling.
Okay, so for a student to see someone else's actions, they would have to share their
Yeah,
screen.
so either you will have to share, or when you go to the breakout rooms, the screen share capability will be open so that, you know, the student you assign can share their screen for everyone.
Get that now. Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, so now I'm going to hop over to Nearpod. Nearpod, to me, is similar to Genially. They all have similarities, but I like Nearpod for doing full, complete lessons and inserting games within the full, complete lesson. So I'll use Nearpod for something, you know, top to bottom, and I'll explain that once it loads. But Nearpod has lessons that are already completed. If you say, hey, you know, we are learning about the female reproductive system, you can just type that in here. And it'll show you pre-made lessons, games, activities, videos, all related to that topic. The male reproductive system, the female reproductive system, the reproductive system. As you can see, it's resource after resource about reproduction, the reproductive system. And so I can go through here and choose the one that most aligns with what I want. So I'll say, well, I don't really want a video only. I want a lesson. So let me click on lesson and see what full lessons come up. And here I have one, the female reproductive system. I'm going to add that to my library. And so now it's successfully added to my library. I'm going to show it in my library. And this is a free resource also. You don't have to pay anything to have an account on Nearpod. It just limits how much you can store in your library at one time. So now I'm previewing the lesson, you know, making sure it's what I want. They're going to show you all the slides here that'll show up. And then I'm going to teach. I want to do live participation or student pace. Now, I would do student pace if I want the student to do this lesson for homework. I'll do student pace. It'll generate a link for me. I can upload that link into our Whole Living Academy homework portal or email it directly to the students or put it in the chat. And it will let me know who's logged in, who's done it, what their progress is, etc. Or I can do live participation, which I'm going to do now to give you guys a feel for the user interface for the students. It's going to open the lesson and it's going to give me a link or an email or Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams or whatever you're using. But I'm just going to get the link and put it here in the Zoom chat. And I want you guys to click that link and join me in this Nearpod lesson. And we'll all be in the same lesson, moving at the same pace, looking at the same thing at the same time.
We have to fill in the our details.
Just a name. It
Tell us-
doesn't have to be your real name. Just whatever, just to get a feel for coming into Nearpod and what it looks like.
Okay.
And it won't move forward until you, as the teacher or the facilitator, moves the lesson forward. So you could be teaching right now, giving students your introduction, and then moving forward through the lesson at your pace. What are the functions of the female reproductive system? You can have a conversation about that. You can have them write the learning objectives. And then most of the time I have the students read. So I'll call on someone, we're all looking at the same slide and they'll read. And then we just go through the lesson. Now you can give the lesson a look, beforehand and see what slides you may want to skip, or what slides you may want to modify. You can have the students get into groups, answer questions. They have really cool interactive elements like this one here. Yes, Sydney.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you select like a pre-made template, how are you able to modify it?
So I think for a pre-made template like this one, if you wanted to modify, that would be a paid account, but it's not
Okay.
impossible.
Okay.
Now, when I close this and you guys can see the interactives, you can see augmented reality, you can change the language. Just a really good teaching resource, and everyone's looking at the same thing. When students give their answers, you're able to switch from student view to teacher view to see the answer that everyone submitted. And Nearpod has games and videos also. You can just upload a YouTube link and the video will be embedded. You can even embed a quiz or questions within the video so that the video pauses and asks them questions about what they just saw. So, that way it's, hey, Malik, you didn't answer your first question. Is everything okay? Are you understanding what you're seeing? Oh, yes, I understand. Okay, please answer the question and submit your answer so I know we're all on the same page. Instead of letting this, 5-minute video play out and Malik is off in the rafters somewhere. Okay, so I'm also going to show you here on Nearpod that I'm going to close this out so you'll see that session in, but you can make your own lessons too from scratch. So, we have lessons about all kinds of things in our Nearpod library. As you can see, I do my Kiswahili lessons from Nearpod. Girls Holistic Development, that was the Flow Like Water lesson. Kiswahili assessments, and whatever else you have in mind. You can just say, launch the lesson builder, and they recently changed their interface, like upgraded it or updated it. I usually like the old way of things, but it's okay. So you just launch the lesson builder. And you can either use their new AI tool and say, hey, I need a lesson about Marcus Garvey, and see what they give you. Or you can upload your own materials about Marcus Garvey and generate a lesson from there. Blake slides and activities. You can do a multiple choice quiz. You can do a time to climb, which is a game. And it's a game that students usually are really excited about. They pick a avatar, and the questions are related and in alignment with the lesson. You can create your own questions, but they also have a lot of pre-made time to climb activities. And so, yeah, you just choose that, and they go through the questions, and the first one to reach the top of the mountain or whatever the theme is the winner. It's very straightforward, but it's fun. You have drag and drop also. There's draw it activities. So, for example, when I'm teaching Kiswahili, I'll put a Kiswahili sentence in the directions and say, hey, draw a picture of what this sentence says. So instead of just doing, rote translation from memory, or it's more engaging. Instead of me just saying, oh, this says a dog drove a car, they get to also draw a picture of a dog driving a car, and I can see what everyone's drawing in real time through my interface on the back end. So Nearpod is another one you can explore. I'll put this link in the chat as well, and go to the next one. All right. The next one I'm going to go to is Kahoot. Kahoot. Now, Kahoot is always going to ask you to buy something. They're always going to say, hey, can you upgrade today? We need you to upgrade. You don't have much more time to upgrade, because if you don't upgrade today, then we're going to ask you again tomorrow. And they are. But if you just close those windows, there are so many free resources on Kahoot. I'm going to log in. I don't know if you got, I'll just pause my sharing right quick while I log in so you can see what I see.
And while that's loading up, does anybody have any questions about the tools shared so far? Okay, so make sure that you go and just try out these tools for yourself. And that's the best way to even become more familiar with them, more comfortable with them, and when you look up and you're like, wow, I made a board game about Marcus Garvey. Then, that gives you even just like a energy boost as an educator, like, wow, I did that.
I'm going to be paying more attention to the Kahoot part as well, because every time I would get on Kahoot, I would get confused as to like, where is the stuff? It's just so much going on that page.
There is a lot going on. There is a lot going on. So, like I said, they're going to ask you to buy stuff all the time. They're always having a deal, always having a sale. And I'm sure it's valuable to somebody. But like I said, as an educator or even as an institution, who wants to pay for 20 different sites, subscriptions? Nobody.
Can I just
So,
ask as well? Sorry,
yeah.
sorry, I didn't interrupt. I did trial out Nearpod. I think it was last year sometime, or was it the year before? And I didn't have any students at that point, as I'd left the school that I was at. what I found was you had the option of sharing the lesson, and I remember having a bit of trouble with that, not understanding the different ways to share.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Well,
I think you had,
Mama Melissa, you can stay after class,
yeah,
um,
please.
and kind of get a little bit more insight
Yeah,
into some of the
yeah,
tools that we've covered. So just stay
thank you.
after,
Okay.
because
I
it
mean, I've
sounds
got
like some
to,
of the questions you have
okay.
may take a little bit more
Thank
time.
you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you.
But like I said before, and I don't know if this will answer your question, but self-paced mode, if you choose self-paced, it'll just generate a link that you can send to anybody and they can do the lesson within the time frame that you set. And we'll show you exactly how to do that. So Kahoot is very similar to Nearpod. To me, they offer a bit more in the gaming space. So I'm going to choose a topic, let's say, or maybe one of you can give me a topic. Not too African centered, something more general because the African centeredness is on us. Normally, we create our own resources within these platforms for that. So I doubt if we'll find, a Kahoot on Wangari Maathai
What
unless
they
we
What
have
pick.
about the
something.
periodic table? Oh, go ahead,
Okay.
Mama Akila.
Oh, I was gonna say what they have something on recycling.
Okay. So I'm just searching recycling. Now, Kahoots are the games. The games are called Kahoots, but they also have courses, um, like full lessons. So let's just go to this simple 7-question one. Now you can preview the questions here and say, is this what I want? Is this right? And if it is, and it's in alignment with what you want to do, then you click host live. You can also assign for the students to do on their own later. So I'm hosting live and it's loading up. I am going to continue with no island. Okay. A game island is for when you want to keep track of your class for an extended period of time. But sometimes when you're already teaching online and you're in East Africa or somewhere where your signal might not be that great already, you don't really want to strain it with a lot of extra. And that game island is extra. So we just play normal. And these are all of the game modes here. They have chill art, tallest tower, treasure trove, color kingdoms, cosmic quest, etc. Robot run, which is a favorite of my students. So this is another engaging part, allowing them to choose the game or saying, whoever did this will be able to choose the Kahoot today or, creating incentives around it, getting them excited about doing the Kahoot, but it's on the topic that you want them to learn about. So if I choose robot run, I get to choose the time, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 3 minutes, 10, and try free now. Now it's been saying upgrade since I started using Kahoot. And that's been like almost 6 years. It'll give you a game pin. If you click on this, it'll generate a link that brings the students directly to your Kahoot. And I just put that link in the chat. But that'll just give you an idea of the user interface for the student. But everyone comes into the same game and everyone is doing the same thing at the same time. And they're competing against each other. They're competing against each other. And so, it's very interactive. They get very excited. And so I'll
I
let
see
them know.
we have some jokesters in the house.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So you click start and it'll give a quick tutorial. You and your crew are being chased by an angry robot. Answer the questions correctly and collect boosts to run faster. Move to the safe zones as quickly as possible. Pass as many levels as you can and escape the station. All right, here we go. And it starts up, and this is what the screen shows, but the students are receiving the questions. Yes, you can make your own customized Kahoot and put in whichever questions you like. I have Kiswahili Kahoots, I have African history Kahoots, I have Kahoots about the Dogon Empire, I have Kahoots about Mansa Musa, you name it.
Now me getting the first answer wrong.
Don't be too hard on yourself. And this is just one game mode. So also as educators on Nearpod and Kahoot, you can create lessons to sell also. Kind of like teachers pay teachers. So keep that in mind too, with Kahoot and Nearpod as a possible stream of passive income. Just take a day, create a bunch of lessons, make them visually appealing, thorough, and collect money.
And you said
Right.
Kahoot, Nearpod, and which other one to sell your lessons? Oh, teachers pay teachers.
Yes.
You guys can also sell, I see we have Baba and Muta. Welcome, Baba and Muta. If you are a game developer, you can also sell your games that you develop on Legends of Learning, which is another tool that we
Yeah.
use. So that's another way to, create passive income with the lessons that you're creating.
So I'll go actually there next. Oh, oh no. I'm gonna end this Kahoot
That was messy.
and you can end it anytime.
I didn't know what
I
I was
also
doing. I was just running
use
around.
I also use these kinds of games to instill a sense of community with the students and have them tap into very supportive language, even if they don't do that well. All right. And so Mama Nikala just mentioned a site called Legends of Learning. And if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to just drop them in the chat. So I like Legends of Learning for science. Legends of Learning focuses on science and math. But I really like having a lot of options for fun, gamified resources for science lessons and virtual experiments and things of that sort. So Legends of Learning, I'm going to pause my screen and log in. Another free resource. You don't have to pay anything to have a Legends of Learning account, and the back end is very, very thorough. Your teachers, your students can join a class and it'll keep up with their progress over time. It'll show you lessons they're completing when you're not in class together. You're able to assign them things when you're not in class together. All right, so here is the teacher's interface for Legends of Learning. As you can see, I have a live assignment now. So over here, you'll find your students, any classrooms you create, you'll find that here. Any assignments you've assigned in the past, you'll find that here also. Any reports, it gives reports without a paywall. So you have your students, you can go to each student and get a report for them based on their work here in Legends of Learning. And so I'm going to go back home and put in a science topic. Let's say photosynthesis. So all of these are instructional games in alignment with photosynthesis. Not all of the games are created equal as far as game development goes, but you can try the game out yourself before class. You can also look at the ratings. Teachers and students are rating these games. So I'll look at this and see this 3.7 that came from 33,000 people and see that that game probably is not for us without me even having to try it. I'll look at this one and see that it's a 4.6 from almost 50,000 people and say, okay, this one might be all right. So I'll click on it, get a description of it. You can watch a preview. You can click here and try the game. You can get a link to the game and just send out the link to your class. Now, you can get a version of this game that aligns with third grade science or fourth grade science. I'm going to choose fourth grade, and it's generated a link for me. So I'm copying the link, and I'll put it in the chat in case you guys just want to see that game. Or I can assign it. So I'll click assign this, and it'll open up a new assignment. I have a start date and end date. I'm going to assign it to all my students. I'm going to change this assignment to photosynthesis lesson. And so I can build on top of this. I have that master plant game, and if I want to go back and add something else, a quiz game, instructional game, simulation, a video lesson, I can add that on top of this. I chose a video. And you just search the resources that they have here and see what's in alignment with what you're working on. Click assign this, and now it's a part of your lesson also. And the students will be taken through it automatically. So once they complete this, it'll automatically take them to the video and automatically take them to whatever you assign next. You can put a quiz in, whatever you want. You can also go through the assignment yourself and share your screen. Normally, I have my students take turns sharing their screen so I can see their progress, and we can all get an idea for how each other's thought processes work. And you might see someone do something that you didn't think to do, or you're able to ask them a question about something they did. And I just find it to be much more interactive that way when I have the students share their screens. All right, and then I just publish. Now my assignment is live. I have a link to my assignment. I can go to Google Classroom. I can embed it with code, Schoology, Canvas. I'll get my link copy it, share it in the chat like I just did, and be done.
I noticed this is a game that you have to, people have to be signed up for. They have to, because it always asks for the login.
Now, the students do need an account. The students need an account for Legends of Learning. So that's something we normally do within the first week of the school year. Have them set up their account, get their usernames and passwords. And on your end, it'll show you your students' usernames and passwords, so you can reset their passwords if they need it, if they forgot, it happens, or didn't write it down, then you can reset their password anytime. But yes, they would need to be able to log in to Legends of Learning to complete. But
And
if their
most
parents set it up
students,
one time and
I was
have
just
them
gonna say, most
remember, like
students
have the
log in
computer
with
the
Google.
password, right. So Legends of Learning also has awakenings, and that's where the students create an avatar and kind of travel through a world and battle and do all kinds of fun activities, but you can control what those activities are within that world. So it's very similar to Prodigy. I'm not sure if many of you have heard of Prodigy. I'm going to show you that also. But yes, Awakening is very fun for them. And they can like meet up with each other and battle each other and upgrade their pets and all kinds of little cute stuff. But the point is the content. When they ask a question within Awakenings, you want it to be the question that you chose. So yes, you can play Awakenings. Yes, you can meet up with each other. Yes, you can battle each other. But when you get these questions, it's gonna be about Julius Nyerere. And if you want to do well, you need to be able to answer them. Any topic, math or science, you can just put into the search bar here, right at the top. So let's say common denominators. All of these are instructional fraction games. Sometimes also, especially for like your class, Mama Akila, uh, I will share it on my screen. If I want everyone zoned in on a particular lesson or a particular aspect of what's happening on Legends of Learning, I won't send them a link. I'll just open it up on my screen and we'll play the game that way, or we'll watch the lesson that way. Every link doesn't have to go directly to them, depending on what you're doing. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Prodigy, but I'm going to go to the teacher portal. When you go to prodigygame.com, it takes you to the game. I'm going to go to the teacher portal so that you guys can see what that looks like. Let me just pause sharing. And if anybody has any questions while this loads, feel free to ask that question now or put it in the chat.
Well, if no one has any questions, I have a question for everyone. So, what has been the most interesting tool that you've learned about today so far? What has been most interesting to you? Drop it in the chat. What did you find most interesting? Drop it in the chat for us, okay? Mama Melissa, Mama Erica. Yeah, I think that
All
would
right.
be most interesting to you, Baba and Muta, as a software developer. Legends of Learning, that holds a lot of opportunity too.
Yeah, you can, if you develop games, you can upload them or have them featured on Legends of Learning.
Yeah, they say they average about 10,000 per year in passive income. It takes about like 2 months on average to get a game accepted. So, you could kind of work your way up to six figures in passive income just through developing games for Legends of Learning if, any of you are into that.
All right. So this is the teacher side of Prodigy. Okay. Prodigy is a very, very fun and interactive game for the students. Um, on their side, it's kind of a, what is it? Say it again. A role-playing
It's
game,
an
an RPG.
RPG.
Yes. It is an RPG, so the students are really open to explore, and they create their avatar, like I said, similar to Awakenings, but the code in Awakenings is not as advanced as it is in Prodigy. So, they'll get much more detail in Prodigy, much more interaction. Even the movements are more fluid, the sound effects, everything. So it's like Awakenings, but it is a little more fun. A little more developed. But I think that Awakenings is on its way to being like Prodigy. So on the back end, again, you can create your classrooms. They have math and ELA now. Math and ELA. I will say that the ELA is not, I normally don't use it for ELA. I normally use Prodigy for math. The ELA for me, I'm not able to create the questions themselves, or I'm not able to create the comprehension content. And so I don't always like what they automatically give the student. As far as fundamentals is fine, but as far as content, I don't always like the language or the approach they like to take. Yeah, we also use Dreamscape. I like Dreamscape because I like Dreamscape for ELA specifically because of the content. It's diverse, and it's normally empowering language in reference to African people or non-white people, and you don't always get that. And so Dreamscape is good for that also, and I'll show you guys that. But here in Prodigy, here's my dashboard. I'm able to see my students. We're in summer right now, so you won't see much activity from them, but it'll show you priorities and what needs to happen and leaderboards. I go here to assignments, and I'm able to see what assignments I have in progress or what has ended. I can create assignment by clicking here. I can create a standard assignment or a quick quiz. I normally do a standard assignment. And here is where I choose what I'm working on. Now, in terms of math, Prodigy pretty much has everything you could think of. So let's say we're looking at uh, variables, expressions, and equations. I'll click that and say that I want 10 questions from this skill. I'll choose another topic like order of operations. And let's do another 10 questions from that skill. Then I'll click assign. I'm going to assign to my whole class. You can also make assignments for specific students. So that's important for me when I have students that aren't on the same level. So I'll have some students, who are learning or operating at a sixth grade level, and maybe you have a specific group that you're teaching where you have sixth grade level and third grade level in the same class. Then assigning to specific students helps because they're still able to play the same game as everybody else, but get their own individualized lesson. Then you click assign. And we can see our variables, expressions, and equations assignment right here. It'll show you which students have logged in, who started that assignment, who has not started it yet, how they're doing on it, which questions they answer right, which ones they answered wrong, etc. They're also able to write on their screen within the game. You can write on their screen if you need to assist them. So it also provides reports. You can give them rewards. There's assessments and placement tests. All of these resources for free. Okay, that is Prodigy for math or ELA. And I recommend that you go to prodigygame.com to see what the student's interface looks like.
So they'll need an account for that as well.
Yes.
So if you kind of go into the school year knowing which tools that you want to use, you can let the parents know at the beginning of the year to go ahead and set up those accounts if you don't want to do that during class time, Mama Akila.
I was gonna say, I'm like, that's very similar to that of like a supply list. You just these are also the things you need to have before classes start.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So I'm putting the Dreamscape link in the chat. Dreamscape is very well coded. It's fun. They're building a world, so they don't really get to venture out and explore much, but they're building where they are. So in order to get the tools that they need to build, they have to get questions right. They're also able to meet up with each other in your classroom. So I'm going to log in very quickly. The music is cool too. Dreamscape is for ELA. Very diverse ELA, very comprehensive. The students get reading comprehension questions, they get grammar questions. I am not able to create my own lesson in Dreamscape, so that might be, one hindrance. I'd love for them to be able to get on Dreamscape and learn about, the Haitian Revolution. But I'm not able to create lessons here. Okay, it's loaded. So this is what it looks like for the student. They have rewards and different tools they can use to build. You click here and it asks questions. The more questions you answer, the more rewards you get, the more resources you get to build up your fortress. It gives the passage, and then you click on question and ask a question about the passage based on the grade level. I like that you can go back to the passage before answering the question. Like, hey, I missed that. Let me go back to the passage and see what I missed. Then come back and answer the question and click check answer. You can, as a teacher, create a classroom on Dreamscape, and the students join your class based on your class code. Same with Prodigy. That way, when they log in during class time, they can see each other, they can interact, and it makes it, that much more fun for them. But Dreamscape is only ELA, but they did it really well. All right. The next resource is Quizalize. And I put that link in the chat. Quizalize is, I like Quizalize. It has lots of games. It's just not as comprehensive as, say, Nearpod. Nearpod is a little more straightforward. Quizalize, you kind of have to play around with it to figure it out, but that's why I'm here today, so that you don't have to do the playing around that I did. So let me just load it up, log in very quickly. On Quizalize, you can also create classes and create your class code so that your students, like Mama Nikala said, can create their accounts at the beginning of the year if you know you're going to be using this. And then when they log in, they'll just always go directly to your class and always automatically be assigned the questions that you create. All right. So we can search resources here. Let's say one-step equations. Hi, Rose. Bye, Rose. And it'll show you quizzes that already exist on one-step equations. Or you can create your own. You can also create your own resources in Quizalize. So whether that's a game or a quiz, or you want to gamify it, you can do all of that here. You can give your class a PDF, a video, a link. You can make a quiz very quickly with AI. So if I say, today I'm teaching key Swahili verbs. Now you have to know that this is right. I teach in English and I'm teaching third grade. It'll start to generate the questions for you, and you just choose the ones you want to use by clicking the plus sign. But as you can see, it's happening, within seconds.
That is really cool. This
And
one is actually a new one for me, Mama Swat.
oh wow.
Yeah.
So it'll generate, and when it's done generating, if they're right, if you don't want to change any of them, and so far these are correct, it's giving the answer, but when the children play, it's going to be multiple choice. I like all of these, so I'm going to go ahead and say add all. Now all of the questions are here and they're multiple choice and ready to go. Save and preview. I left the title as Kiswahili verbs. And so now I can play as the student and try out my quiz. I can edit my questions to suit my class. I can give it as homework. I'm choosing the class that I'll give it to, and that's my first class. I'm going to give it to the class as a game. You can give it to them as a classic quiz, a team game, or a solo game. I'm going to choose a game. These are the game modes that they have here on Quizalize. This is for when they're playing from their device. They also have big screen games for when you're sharing your screen and everyone is looking at your screen. I'm not a huge fan of these. They just don't really work well in the virtual class setting. Maybe if we were in a room and there was a big screen in the room, they would work better. But I normally choose Sorcerer. And Sorcerer is a game kind of like Candy Crush or something along those lines where they just have to pop the bubbles of the same color, but they don't get what they need to pop the bubbles without answering questions correctly. Or I choose Blockers. And Blockers they love because it is very similar to Minecraft. So I choose Blockers as a multiplayer option. I choose Give to Class, and as you saw, it said try Blockers. It lets you try the game before you give it. Everything is here. You can even get feedback that goes to each student. That has a paywall though, but they have a lot of extras that you can add to, just improve the students' interface as they use it. As you can see, these are kind of like if variables, if you code. So if the student scores less than 50%, what should they see? Well, I want to have them watch a video, or I want to send this PDF to them to reinforce what the lesson was. If they score between this or that, what should they see? Or if they score more than 80%, maybe I want to create a PDF certificate for them to say, hey, Whole Living Academy congratulates you on doing well on this specific exam or etc. assessment. And they played a game. And so this will be on my screen. I can get a magic class link and share it. It can be a QR code. If they want to play from a phone, they can just scan the QR code with their phone. Or I have them go to zzi.sh and put in this code. For this, they don't need an account. They also get very robust reports following the game.
What are you saying, Mama Swat? You're saying that the children do not need to have an account for Quizalize?
That's what I'm saying. Yes,
Okay, just making sure. Thanks.
no problem. Normally, the games that have a code or like Nearpod, they get a code or a link. That code normally allows them to join without having an account, even Kahoot. All right, we have a few minutes left. I want to show you another resource that the children love. That's GimKit. So you should never have a boring moment in your virtual classroom. Okay, let me log in quickly.
Do they need an account for GimKit?
No,
No,
they do not need an account for GimKit. GimKit does have a paywall, but you don't need to pay to have your account and you don't need to pay to play. But they have so many fun game options. You need to pay to have access to all of the options. So they rotate out periodically what you're able to play with your students for free. There's always something to play for free. You just don't know what it will be. So if you don't pay for access to all the game modes, you just have to pay play whatever is free then. It's $4.99 a month, and GimKit is actually was created by a high school student who was tired of playing boring games in class. He wanted to do the lessons with really fun games, and so he did a good job. I got to give it to him. These are Gim kits that I created myself. So a Kiswahili challenge, DNA basics, layers of the skin and melanin. Shout out Mama Erica. The Kingdom of Kush, Queen Amina of Zaria, Jenne and the Dogon, the Aksum Empire, Ancient Mali Empire, you name it. You can, it's really easy to create Gim kits or kits. And it's really easy to use them. So
and the
when
children really enjoy it.
they do really enjoy it. They do really enjoy it. And I can do this for free. I can create these kits for free. And
What
they
would
can
you
have as many questions as I want them to have, and the children can play for free. And so it's very comprehensive and straightforward, like Nearpod, you just click new kit or create new kit, come in and name it. Let's say, uh,
Swatara, what would you say is your favorite platform to use?
I like different ones for different reasons. Normally, I go by what the students like when it comes to games. And believe it or not, and I didn't get to show this one today, but my students really like to play Jeopardy. And I use jeopardylabs.com. We can put that link in the chat. And on jeopardylabs.com, you're able to create a Jeopardy game or use one that's already been made or create one with all of your own content for free. And
Nice.
then
My
so
apologies. I
my
was going to say, do you offer some type of incentive? Not saying you need to, of course, but like to create a competitive environment, which a healthy competitive environment amongst the children.
yeah, they don't need help. They don't need help.
No, no, I was saying healthy. Like, do you do like any type of incentives,
No,
like the
no,
winner
no.
gets, like
No, we don't need prizes. Like for my class and my age
yeah.
group that I mentioned in the beginning, they don't need any incentive. It's just fun to play. So, and because they're in my class and some of them have been with me for a while, they know to only use supportive language. So, if it's something that you feel like is not going to be conducive to your brothers and sisters in class, then you might need to mute yourself, take some time to breathe, and come back. But
Yes, and I'll just add on to that, even with teaching 11th grade math, I teach the more advanced math classes, and they also don't need any help to be, one, competitive, but in an African-centered environment, there's a school culture, there's a classroom culture. And when that classroom culture is already there, then anything that they're doing is based on that same classroom culture. So, they're not coming in like, they just came in and they've had no African-centered training, so to say, instead of no home training. And just like, saying crazy things to each other, because that's not a part of the classroom culture. Um, but if you are teaching children, outside of Whole Living Academy that don't have that classroom culture, then yes, you can set some parameters going into the game and let them know, like, hey, positive feedback only. You can mute all of their microphones and then only unmute them when they have a question, right? If you don't trust your classroom to have the culture that you know is going to be conducive to positivity, then as an educator, you have to be the one to manage the classroom. Use that mute button, mute them all, and then just unmute them
I've
when they
even
raise their hand.
right, right. And in the beginning, creating that culture, I've even had to take away the capability for my students to unmute themselves. It,
What is
so that's you to maintain control of your classroom environment, and they need to know what it takes to be able to unmute themselves.
uh just a curious question. Thank you for answering that. But gaming, of course, is amazing. I think kids love that. I did as a child as well, going to the chalkboard, competing and things of that nature. And then of course now we're taking it more to the 2025 virtual, right? Um,
Mhm.
what do you do for children who have not gotten into the computer gaming? They haven't been on Zoom before. They haven't learned how to independently process and navigate.
Mhm. Well, depending on the age level and the amount of parent participation at home. That word was like boom, boom, boom. I would kind of go off all of those elements. Like, do they have someone to help them understand that, is able to be there for a particular period of time to make sure that they understand how to do these things, or even log into class successfully, or stay logged in, or, know how to unmute themselves, know how to turn their camera on. Like, those are the basics. So whoever it is that's helping them do those things will also have to be the one to meet you halfway on this virtual platform and teaching them um, basic computer skills to be able to learn online. Even in Mama Akila's class, those are my son is in Mama Akila's class, and we had to teach him how to unmute himself and how, camera etiquette, even because other people can see you, so you can't stretch and dig and scratch like you would normally do as a little boy. You can't do that. And our students know, even dress code, like you have to come to class dressed and ready to go, ready to learn, ready to make the most of our time together out of respect for one another. And so knowing how to do these things and go to these different sites and be a part of these different lessons is just a part of the work. And either they have, a good support system at home to help them to do that, or it rests on us as the facilitator to be able to talk them through that, or even have another student help them, talk them through it, another student that understands. What platforms are best for, I hope that answered your question. Best for the youngest
Absolutely. Thank
learners,
you.
kindergarten. Mama Adenike, I think that any one of the ones we showed today could work for really young learners, but I think for that age group, uh, sharing your screen with the game on it is best. rather than having them go to a game. I would use
Sure, that makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to do these things independently. So, yeah.
yeah. And a good site for that is education.com.
Okay.
They have a paywall, but it's worth it for that age group.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And
So
we can pay it for you if you want to use that tool, Mama Adenike.
Okay, great. I'll investigate that one a little bit more.
okay. Education.com isn't just games, but there are lots of fun games, especially for younger children, all the way up to like 6th grade, I think. They also have worksheets. They also have worksheet generators where you can create your own word search, crossword, word scrambles, things like that. All of that is on education.com. In terms of history and things like that, don't look for more than your generic Black History Month content. But when you can create your own worksheet generator, like what I just described with the word searches and whatnot, especially the crossword puzzles, you can get a lot of information in a crossword puzzle. Then you can make it, what you want it to be. So this is GimKit. I'm not going to go through creating the whole kit because we're already almost 10 minutes over time. But if you create a spreadsheet with your questions and multiple choice answers, then you can just import the spreadsheet one time and your whole kit will be made instantly. And for those of you who are familiar with ChatGPT, you know that ChatGPT can create a spreadsheet for you. So we're talking about maybe 10 minutes of work tops to create a Gim kit, a kit on GimKit, and then you just play live. It'll show you which games are currently free if you're on a free account. Don't look down. All of these they love. All of these games they love. So you just choose that version, continue, choose the game duration, whether or not they'll have checkpoints, etc., etc. Can players join late? And your game will load. You'll get a link and you send your students that link. And they have a good time with the questions that you created. So you don't have to join this one, but it's a really fun game. This one plays like a 2D platformer. And they need to answer questions to get energy. And when the students join, they're all in the same game together. So there'll be like, 20 of these on the screen of all of them playing, trying to answer questions and reach the platforms, etc. So I'm going to share one more quick one and then I'll take questions and then I'll let you go. But that is Word Wall. WordWall has a lot of pre-made content, and you can also create your own. And these are all of the different game modes that they have on WordWall. You can even create your own spin the wheel, like Baba and Muta told us in another PD session, putting the students' names on the wheel to randomly call on people. You can create that wheel here in WordWall. So I'll even go straight through Google and say, uh, uh, adding and subtracting decimals word wall. And it'll show me resources that they have on this topic. I'll just click on it. Pick one. Now this is a maze chase. You don't have to log in. The students don't have to log in. You can just send them a link. But if you want to keep up with your students and their progress and what they're answering correctly and incorrectly, then you do want them to log in and you want to create an account yourself. You can switch the game mode if you want to. Maze Chase plays like Pac-Man. So you're trying to get your character to the correct answer before one of these little aliens comes to get it. Like I said, you can change the game mode. They also have what's called game show mode. And in game show mode, it's not on this one, but in game show mode, I share my screen. It has music. So this is something the students can play independently or together as a class. They can play as teams. You can separate them into teams. So that's word wall. I was trying to close it. Here we go. All right, so I know I shared a lot, but if you guys have any questions, I'm here. Mama Nicola and I are here. And the floor is open.
Just want to say thank you for this wonderful presentation.
Oh, no, no, no. Thank you.
Any other questions from anybody?
Probably more homework than anything, right?
Right.
Lots of homework. I just want to give my appreciations for the resources, the presentation, the demonstrations on how to use them. And I definitely appreciate it. And I really look forward to diving in for the rest of the summer.